Good morning, everyone. It's Sam McDonough, IFBB Bikini Pro, and today we have like 6 or 7 pro shows to talk about. So we're going to talk about Hurricane, we're going to talk about Mexico, we're going to talk about Fit Parade, and so on. But first, I didn't do previews last week because I had my sister's wedding, so I don't have predictions to like go over with you, but I do have pictures of the wedding. Okay. I'll show you like 5 pictures. Okay, here was my outfit to the ceremony. This jumpsuit ended up just being so cute. And then here is the back of the outfit. I'm not going to show pictures of like them getting married because that feels weird. Here's me and my sister. She's my BFF. She's so cute. Okay, there she is. And then here we are again. And then here's my boyfriend who drove down for the dinner. Okay, so that's that. Okay, I want to start with Hurricane. So we're going to start with Hurricane. Is this Hurricane? Yes, I think so. Okay. So let's start with Hurricane. So here is how did it end up going? It ended up going Amy Delgado, Zinyi, Yulia, Golsa, and Kristabalina. That was our top 5. And then Alice was in 6th. So let's start with the comparison photos as we usually do. Okay, so here is top 4. I couldn't get a good picture of like the just full call out because it was just too far away. So we're just gonna go over the top 4. But yeah, so unsurprisingly, Amy Delgado, the one in this pink suit, won. Zinyi, who got into the 2nd or 3rd call out at the Olympia, she was in 2nd place. And when Zinyi stepped on stage at the Olympia, I was like, oh my God. Like, her glutes just look crazy. She has beautiful fullness. The tan always looks really good and really even. So I was really happy to see her getting the 2nd place at Hurricane. There's some things I would adjust with the pose, but if we're just going to look at the top 4, and I open my eyes and I pretend to be a judge and I try to look for the flaws on these competitors because everyone looks really good. And that's what I usually do on this channel. For anyone who's new, I try to just open my eyes and look at the photo as if I'm a judge looking at them for the first time. And since everyone looks really good, everyone's pros, everyone in this lineup was at the Olympia. Yulia was supposed to compete in the Olympia, but then she fainted like the day of show day, so she couldn't go on stage, but she was qualified and won a couple shows last season. So yeah, everyone on the stage looks really good, and you're trying to find the flaws that set them apart. That's why when you go on stage, if you're doing a super long routine, it just gives the judges more time to see your flaws because they've already seen what they need to see. So Amy Delgado, she got 6th place at her first 2 Olympias, and then she's gotten 4th place at her most recent 2 Olympias. And I think that's all the Olympias she's done. So she won the overall at USA's in 2020. So yeah. Okay. And then Golsa, she beat Evie Eskandar at a show this year, which is how she qualified for the Olympia. And Evie Eskandar is the person who's won like pretty much the 2nd most shows behind Ashley Kalbasser. So there's that. Okay, so anyway, that's just some background. So when I look at this photo, I'm looking for balance and symmetry. So an hourglass shape. So the people who have the best hourglass shape to me and look like their muscles are the most balanced across their physique. To me, I look at Amy and Yulia. I'm seeing the most matching muscularity from top to bottom. Zinyi, however, has a really, really great shape based on this pose, even though I think the core could be tighter. That's looking relaxed. And she could have more glute projection from the front, but I think that's just a muscle insertion thing because she has really long glute insertion, so it takes longer to fill out that front profile because when the muscle belly is so much longer, then you have to have more and more density to get it to have the same projection that someone with shorter glute insertions like Golsa has, where you see a lot more side glute projection. And then Amy, I think she's somewhere in the middle with the length of her insertions, but she just has so much density that she's hardly even posed in this front pose, and she has a ton of hourglass shape. Like, you can see in all of these athletes except for Amy that Amy is not arching her low back at all, but Yulia, Zinyi, and Golsa are, because that's what gives them that projection to the upper outer glute. Amy is just so developed that she has a ton of projection. She could be a little rounder right here, so maybe arching a tiny bit would help, but she really doesn't need to. Like, the shape is there without her having to give the illusion that it's there. So what was Amy's feedback at the Olympia, she placed 4th, was that she needed more pop. That's what Tyler said in his video. So when I look at this photo, you want your front pose to look like you're just standing there, like you're totally relaxed. You don't want it to look forced at all. And I would say that Yulia and Amy look the most relaxed. Xinyi, it's not that she doesn't look relaxed, it's just that she is not keeping her core tight. So that is relaxed, but it's looking like the amount of arch she has is almost forced because she's either not able to keep her core tight, or she isn't like, she doesn't have the body awareness in that moment to have her core tight. And then Golsa, I don't know that she looks like she's posing too hard. These striations at her shoulder make me think that she is, like, she's opening up that shoulder really hard. You don't see those lines on any of the other people on this stage. So yeah, so it was Amy, Xinyi, Yulia, Golsa. That's how it went. 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, Amy is the clear winner in the front pose to me. She looks very relaxed, has a lot of natural hourglass shape. Xinyi, I think her hourglass shape is beautiful, and her conditioning looks really spot on, and the tan looks really smooth and even. Yulia's doesn't look as smooth to me. Xinyi just kind of glows. So that is very eye-catching, and a lot of Bikini is getting the judges to want to pay attention to you and not look away. So in the front pose, if we're just going off of physique, I would have Amy first, Yulia second, because Yulia has really great hourglass shape and muscularity, looks balanced top to bottom. Xinyi, we're losing a little bit of that balance because she doesn't have that same upper outer glute where it looks like it's lagging behind her leg. So yeah, and then some posing things I would adjust. There are some things I would like to see Amy do, but I wouldn't actually have her adjust them because I don't know that they would help her placing. Like, she's already doing really, really well. I would think like bringing this arm in a little tighter to her frame, it's just out too far, I think would enhance her hourglass shape if she had that arm framing her silhouette more. So that's probably what I would do with Amy, but I don't think it's absolutely necessary. I also think Amy could use a little bit more lat. She looks kind of shallow in the lats, and that's the only thing I would have her build. So if that's, and not even very much. So if that's the only thing you have missing from your physique, which I don't even know for sure that it is, she has good shape without more lat, but she looks like she's a little bit too opened up here to create more hourglass shape, whereas she could be a little bit more relaxed if she had a little more lat. But I don't think she actually needs to do those things. That's if I'm just like racking my brain as to what she could improve a little bit. So yeah, I don't think she actually needs to change anything, honestly. I think she could win the Olympia. Probably not looking like this because she doesn't have as much pop as she did at like Pittsburgh, which I think is our best look. So I'll pull that up in a sec after we go over the back poses. But yeah, so Amy, it's hard to clock anything on Amy's physique. She looks great. Xinyi, I would keep the core tighter. I would take away this bend from the arm. It's a little bit distracting because it's making the hand kind of like float out. So keep it tighter to the frame, core tight. And then the feet are a little bit just too close together. So see how close her feet are together compared to everyone else on this stage. I would split the stance a little bit. So I would probably not sit hard into this hip, but she looks like she's almost leaning forward. I just want to see more of this dynamism that we see in like Amy, Golsa, and Yulia in this lower half of her front pose. So I think the front pose could be tweaked, but it's like a handful of things I would do. So it's hard to even say like, do this, this, and this, because then it's an entirely different pose. So it might be hard to envision. But yeah, I would want like more of a split stance, core tight, bring the arm in tighter. Yeah, I would want to see that before I make any other changes. And then the back pose, I think, is where Xinyi really takes home the second place compared to Yulia. So Xinyi, I think her front pose is so captivating because the complexion is just glowing and she does look really full. Even though I think Yulia has better shape in the front pose, but the amount of pop she has in this back pose is even better than Amy. In Bikini, you don't have to be the most impressive person. I would say Xinyi is the most impressive person in this lineup in the back pose. But but you just want to be the most balanced from top to bottom, and Amy is very balanced. So based on the back pose, even though Xinyi's is like more impressive than Amy's, it would still go to Amy for me. I would like to see like a little more pop like we did at Pittsburgh. So again, I'll show you that. But this is really good. Amy's physique, not at its absolute best, is still better than most people, and she'll probably still win any show. She does. She hasn't lost a regular pro show in a couple years at this point. Like the only shows that she doesn't get first place are like the Arnold and the Olympia. And even at the Arnold, she was second. So, yeah. So I would say that Amy is the most like bikini in this back pose because she's not like overly muscular at all. Xinyi isn't necessarily overly muscular, but Amy is just more balanced from front to back, including her posing being really good from front to back. So yeah, Xinyi, I think if her front matched this, she could maybe win, but Amy is still riding that midline compared to her, and bikini is all about, or bodybuilding is all about who you're being compared next to. So you don't want to be over the line in terms of muscularity. So would Xinyi be over the line if this back pose matched her front pose? It's very possible. So Amy would probably still win, even if Xinyi had a stronger front pose. So yeah, Amy would be a clear winner. Xinyi I would give second from the back. And the reason I would edge Yulia out for Xinyi to take the win is because of this detail we're seeing in Yulia's hamstrings. You're seeing like grooves in the muscle, and you want to see just a full muscle belly like you're seeing on Amy and on Xinyi. So that extra detail I think hurts Yulia, especially compared to someone who's so 3D like Xinyi. And Yulia has some of the best glutes in the pro league, so for her glutes to like pale in comparison to someone next to her on stage is crazy. Like Xinyi's glutes are crazy. So yeah, that's what I think there. Yulia also doesn't look like she has as much pop as usual. It's looking not quite soft. It could just be a lack of glaze too, but she doesn't have that like muscle popping out against the skin as much in these glutes as I've seen before. So I'll pull up some of her other poses too. And Gulsa looks great. She just doesn't have as much development in the glutes as the other people. And the arms in the back pose are just a bit wonky. They're really out far. So you see some rear delt pop because she has great rear delts, but the amount of tricep and bicep you're seeing in the back pose, you really don't want to see any bicep in the back pose, which you are. It's just distracting. So great competitor, but just in this lineup and with this posing, it's just not quite the same. I like the green suit on her. I'm wondering if she could be tighter, but then she would be showing more lines, but it wouldn't necessarily be a bigger look. So I'm seeing a little bit of softness here, but since her glutes need to be bigger no matter how lean she is, then if she got leaner, she would just look like a sucked down version of what she is here, and it would highlight even further that the glutes need development. Like at least here, they look really full. So, oh no. Oh, that's okay, actually. Okay, let me drink some water. Okay, so now let's pull up some individual photos. Okay, so here is... Oh, oops. Okay, I'm going to pull up Amy. This look to what I think her best look is. So here's Amy at this show. This pose looks better. She was more opened up in her other one, which I thought was a little extreme. This is perfect. So that's something Amy's gotten feedback on before, like at the Arnold, that her front pose just wasn't as consistent as it needed to be. So actually that front pose was perfect. So I take what I said back about like potentially needing more lats. Okay, so here was her Pittsburgh look. Okay, so this was Amy. I'm just zeroing in on the amount of pop that she has here. So this was way earlier this year, so it like totally is fair that she doesn't have as much pop towards the end of the year. That happens to a lot of people when you compete a lot, which Amy is competing like a fair amount. A lot of people will lose some of their pop as the year goes on. So this look I think is Amy's best. Like this is what I meant with Yulia, like seeing the muscle pop out against the skin. You see that here in this hip detail specifically. Even though the lighting is different about these shows, you can see what I'm saying better here. Like the muscle is protruding out against that skin. The skin looks tight against the muscle, but it doesn't look like shrink wrappy. Here, she looks a little bit flatter she isn't getting as much of that protrusion. So yeah, this is my favorite Amy look. And had she brought it to the Olympia, I think it would have been a strong argument for her to win. But yeah, so Amy, she looked great enough to win this show, and I'm very curious to see what she needs to do, or what she does like the rest of the year. Like, is she going to, or next year, is she going to do Arnold again? Is she going to compete less? She's had the Pittsburgh and New York titles for the past 3 years, so is she gonna like go for a 4th year in a row? I don't know. So here's her back pose. It's also hilarious to me that Amy is not qualified for next year's Olympia. It's like hilarious that someone this good has to even qualify. Like, I know you do, that's how it works, but she just will win any show she does, so it seems, just funny. And then Amy often has her hair on her shoulders. I would like her to have her hair off her shoulders like she did at Pittsburgh here. So yeah, I think this is the pop I want to see in the back pose. The lighting is different, so maybe it did look similar to this, but yeah, this amount of pop is what I'd like to see on Amy's glutes, and I think she might even have it here. She didn't seem to have it at the Olympia. Okay, so that's that on Amy. And then let's go into second place, Xin Yi. So let's see what she looked like at the Olympia with her front pose. Okay, yeah, so Xin Yi always kind of struggles with her front pose, and she's more lean forward here than okay, that's Kristablina. Okay, so here she is. Okay, she's the same amount leaned forward. And her waist looks tighter here. In that comparison photo, it wasn't as tight. So I want her to stand up taller. So this shoulder is, well, the shoulder is in line with the glute, but I just want her to stand up taller. She looks like she's leaning forward, and to kick that foot out like right here. But this waist is, yeah, what we want to see. And then I think this angle for the front pose was probably better. She's less opened up, but if she could keep the core like this tight when she's there, that's what I would like to see. So yeah, nothing really new on them. Those pictures were clear enough for me to be able to break them down. So I'm just going to move on. Let's see if Yulia. Okay, so I said I would pull up pictures of Yulia. So Yulia's glutes. That's what I wanted to show you, I think. That's what I wanted to show you. Okay. So I was saying that Yulia has some of the best glutes in the league, and she looks a little sucked down now compared to what she was there. So let me show you. So yeah, okay. You see a lot more fullness in these hamstrings. You see a little bit of like grooving right there, but it's just much tighter here. And this is the first show she's done in a while. Like, she qualified a while ago and then was gonna compete at the Olympia, and it didn't work out. So yeah, this amount of pop is also what I want to see on Yulia. So that's what I meant when I was talking about her glutes. And then she did take a big, not that big of a break, Daytona. Okay. So, okay, that's Yulia. I don't have anything new to say about her. And then Golsa. Yeah, this front pose looks really good. I think Golsa is just adding some more muscle to the glutes. She's a newer pro. I think she went pro last year or in 2023. So you go pro, and then you pretty much just have to start refining. Yeah, she went pro in 2023, and her pro debut was last year. So when you go pro, it's usually that you have all of the makings of a pro, like you have all of the elements you need, like the hourglass shape, the fullness in the shoulders, enough roundness in the glutes, enough density to have tie-ins when you're in your back pose. But then it's about like streamlining and adding muscle to specific areas. So when you're bodybuilding, you build a lot of muscle all over your body, and then you start like adding on to specific areas to fit the criteria. And then when you become pro, it's an exaggerated version of that because everyone has all those things. And then it's about making your ratios so cartoonish that you stand out and really like exceed the hourglass shape criteria. So Golsa, I think, is still just in that phase of refining so she can get these higher placings. She's already been to the Olympia, and it was her. She went to the Olympia like a year and a half after she went pro. So that's amazing. So she's like really close, but yeah. And then the arms, this is what I was talking about. Like, they're way too far out. So it's just posing things there, too. But really what she needs is just more glutes. So when she leans out, it'll be more of that taper from the glute into the knee. And she gets that pop in the glute ham tie. And all around, but mainly the glute ham tie. Okay, and then we have Kristabalina. So I think that Golsa edged out Kristabalina because, well, I think Yulia edged out Golsa because Yulia just has more hourglass shape and fits the criteria better. I think there's like a bit of a gap between Yulia and Golsa. I don't think there's that much, like, debate over who goes where between those two. And then Kristabalina, I think, gets edged out because Golsa was more complete than her. So something that I noticed when I look at Kristabalina's physique is that her glute is very developed, but the leg looks almost skinny. It looks like not very muscular. In the back pose, the hamstring looks muscular, but in the front pose, it's like the quad is really flat and you see some roundness in the hamstring. I think I would just like to see more shape in the quad. But when she's in her back pose, the legs look super dense. So Kristabalina is just a denser athlete. Like, we see a thicker waist. We see like thick lats, thick shoulders. She has a lot of muscle density. She's been a pro for a long time. So I would like to see just more shape from her. Like, all of the pieces are there, but it's just the shapes that are kind of missing. And when I say pieces, I mean like density, glam, suit, like all that is there, but it's just some refining that I'd like to see with her. So yeah, I think the upper body is overpowering to the lower body, so it takes away from balance, and I think also is more balanced. So that is my take. Okay, so that is Hurricane. Okay, that's Hurricane. So what show are we going to talk about next? Let's talk about the Natural Fit Parade show. So Natural Fit Parade Hungary. So this one went Nina, Alexandra, Botos, and Regina. So let's look at these comparison photos. Okay, so who is my question. Okay, so this is Nina. Okay, so blonde red suit wins, pink suit in second, green in third, well, blue green in third, and then green in fourth. Okay, let's see. So when I look at this photo, okay, that's kind of what threw me off because I think fourth place, her hourglass shape, is the best in this lineup. Okay, so what do I see when I open my eyes and look at this photo? I think Nina has the best hourglass shape in this lineup. I think she's a little too open up in the core, so it takes away from, like, the ratios, but the shape is there. The hourglass shape is there. I want her to be more closed off, like we see here with our second place in the pink suit. But other than that, like, I think she has the best hourglass shape. I think everyone is posing their shoulders too hard. Like, they're really opening hard to get, like, the roundness in their shoulders. And I think it's probably because this is a natural show, so they know they have less muscle than, like, other pro shows. They're trying to exaggerate the proportions as much as possible, which is totally understandable. And then, yeah, I mean, in the red suit, the first thing I noticed is, like, these ribs popping out and the discrepancy in the width from top to bottom. Doesn't really look as balanced to me. Second place, the arm is just really, their arm is too far out, except for maybe third place. The arm is closer to where I'd want it. And then, yeah, it's just a lot of overposing in this whole show. Nina is probably the least posed, even though she's posing pretty hard. So they're opening up a lot. These top three, they're opening up a lot in their upper bodies. So really the top two more than third place. So it's making them look way wide up top and then narrow on the bottom. If I had to guess, the conditioning on this first place person is what won, because she does have the fullest conditioning. But I think the posing needs to be improved. And it's hard to judge everyone on this stage when the posing needs this amount of extra love. So I would have it as 1 fourth place in first place. This is before seeing the back pose. And then maybe the pink in second place. I could see that that's correct. Because even though everyone else is leaner than the one in the red, they're not too lean. Because usually I err on the side of, like, not letting the leanest person win. But number one looks like And that's why it's all about comparison. Number one looks the most under conditioned in the lineup, but it's also because of who she's being compared against. So is her conditioning pretty similar to Maureen? Potentially. It's more similar to Maureen than like second place is. So I don't know. This is a tough one to judge. And then third place, she's tipping over a lot. These feet are together. The shape is just not really there. So it's just about like relaxing the posing, standing up taller, really take Nina as the blueprint, but angle her hips away a little bit so I see less of the front of her suit bottoms, and relax the pose all around. And then for the back poses, okay, so this is where the judging makes more sense. First place, this is a really solid back pose. This is really good. And not only the pose, the conditioning looks really good. So yeah, I would totally have this person in first place. The front pose is tough, but that can be worked with. Like she could get feedback on that. And then the person I had in first based on the front pose has the smallest glutes in the lineup. So I think that's something that's going on and is reading as an imbalance. One, because her glutes are smaller than her legs. And then also because the upper body is so developed. And then the juxtaposition between that and the glutes being underdeveloped, that would take her out of the running for first place. And then second place, yeah, I think this show was honestly like judged on back poses because the front poses needed, I'm not trying to be rude, but they just need a lot of work. And it can totally be done. Like all these people look much better than they're displaying, but there just needs to be more, I hope the judges gave them guidance on what to do with their poses. So yeah, I would say on the back pose, this is totally right. Like I think third place has better glutes, but the maybe that is where the front pose came into play. Like the front pose was worse than second place's front pose. So who knows? I would say red is totally first place. I see why pink got second place because we see like the indication of the glute tying into the hamstring. I think the hamstrings are a little bit tight though. Like based on the back pose, I would have this person in second place because she has that full hamstring and the similar conditioning to first place with the glute tying into the hamstring. She just looks more complete muscularly. So I think had the posing been different, we could have seen her getting second place. And then fourth place, it's just a lack of development in the glutes. So to go over their individual pictures, I would just relax the front pose. Like I already said, no changes to this back pose, and the glutes are super impressive. Second place, this is better. This is better than what we saw in the comparison. So bring the arm in tighter to the frame. It's just drifting out too much, and stand up taller. It looks like she's leaning forward. And more muscle on the upper body because the lower body looks more muscular. Back pose looks the same, so nothing to say there. And then in our third place, she also needs some more glute development and just to relax this pose a little bit. Yeah, and she's very tight in the leg right here. And all these people look great, by the way. Okay, and then yeah, nothing new on the back pose. And she is a little more closed off in the front pose here, so that's good. And then I like the green on her. Okay, and then moving into our third show. Who are we going to talk about? Okay, another natural show, and it was just two people, so this will be quick. So this was the Idaho Cup. So in the front pose, this is Christina, and then who is in first place? Ashley? Yeah, okay, Ashley. Okay, so in the front pose, based on this comparison, I say Christina on the left has a stronger front pose because she's standing up nice and tall. She looks relaxed. Ashley looks a little bit more forced. The arm is kind of drifting out. Both of them could just use some more muscle all around, but Christina more so in the upper body, and Ashley I think could be a little bit tighter on the lower body, and she's really tight on the upper body. Both of them look great. Hourglass shape, I think Christina's showing better hourglass shape in this photo. She's just missing some upper outer glute. So based on the front pose, I would have Christina winning, the one who was on the left. And then based on the back pose, I would probably, we'll look at their individual photos, but like on these comparisons, I would probably still have Christina winning. But Ashley's conditioning, I think, is what's closer to the bikini criteria with that soft glute tie to the hamstring. But Christina, she's a little bit tight in these hamstrings here. Like, you're seeing deep grooves. So I can see why Ashley won in the back pose, if that's how it went. And then front poses. Yeah, Ashley's front pose looks better here. The arm is more relaxed, so it could have just been a bad comparison photo for her. So yeah, I can see why she won. It looks like Christina has a few more holes in her physique than Ashley, specifically in this upper outer glute. They're both really tight in the arm. Like, I can see that this could have been close. Because it seems like they have similar deficits. Like, Christina's quad, my eyes go to. Ashley's quad, my eyes go to. My eyes go to both their arms being really tight. And yeah, so I would say similar flaws. So I think it probably came down to conditioning. Ashley's conditioning was just a little bit softer and more in line with bikini criteria than Christina's. So both of them look great. I think Christina filled out a little bit more. She could definitely win. Because she is, I think, the more muscular of the two, at least in the back pose, like with the full upper outer glutes here. So yeah, I think it's a conditioning thing, but both of them look great. So congratulations. Okay, I have to pee. Okay, I am back. So let's get into the Fit Parade show, and then we have Mexico, and then I think we have Hong Kong. Okay, so Fit Parade. Open. So this is open Fit Parade. So let's start with the front pose. Victoria won, and she's got 15th at the Olympia. And in second, we have Nedelku, and then Nora was in third. Okay, so let's get into that. So I think this is Nora. Let me double check. No, this is Nora. Okay, Nedelku, the red. Okay, got it. So, okay, so here is our top 3 call out. When I look at this photo, the first thing my eye goes to is the hourglass shape with Victoria. It also goes to the lack of development here in the upper outer glute, like this dip we see. But the core, the upper body, like this shape is incredible. The shoulders look a tiny bit overpowering to me, but I think it's only because we lack development. If this glute went like that, then I think it would not even be on my radar. It's just the fact that the shoulders are overdeveloped compared to the glutes that makes my eye drawn there. I would also take her foot and angle the knee slightly at the judges so we get similar size between legs. So if a leg, like you see here with Nedelku, sorry, this is Nora. No, who is that? Dang it, I just went over this. Okay, Nora. Yeah, okay. So you see with Nora that her knee is kind of drifting back almost. Like that toe is almost pointed back. So if you slightly angle the knee in like you see on Nedelku, then that knee is slightly drifted in. You see the matching fullness between legs, so that back leg doesn't look super minimized compared to the rest of you. You want the legs to almost be on the same plane so they appear the same size to the judges. When something's further away, it looks smaller. So I would like to see Victoria drift her knee in just a little bit, and same with Nora. Okay, just continuing to make sure I know people's names. So yeah, when I look closer, I would say that Nedelku has really good conditioning. Really full skin, like complexion looks really, really smooth. So my eye definitely goes to her for that. Her balance looks good, but it's hard to tell, like with her off on the side. And then Nora, she looks great. She just looks a little bit tight, like in this core, which is good. Like you don't want to have a soft core. It's tough when judges say that the core is too crispy, because it's like, well, yeah, that's how we got everything else tight. You know what I mean? So yeah, I would also say that the suit colors on the two people on the end are more complementary than Nora's suit on her. And the tan could be darker. The tan just looks a little bit light. Balance, her hourglass looks really good. Her leg looks like it's a similar width to her glute. So I would want to bring the glutes up, but everyone in this lineup could use fuller glutes. And then the back pose. I think Nora has the second best back pose in terms of like glute density and projection, but the arms are pretty distracting. They look pretty thick. In in like a muscular way. So just like a little overly muscular for Bikini. Victoria, I think, has the best back pose. Still needs some upper outer glute, but really nice, full, dense glutes that are popping out against the skin. And I think the reason Nedelku got second place here is because she's balanced in the back, except for needing more upper outer glute. Like, they really slope off, and you don't see that as much on the other two competitors. But the conditioning is really good, and the muscularity looks balanced from top to bottom. Unlike what I said with Nora, having a more muscular upper body than lower body. So I would want to bring down the arms a little bit, and maybe she could even straighten them more like Victoria's arms are straightened. That way the triceps are pushed further away, so they look smaller, like we were talking about with the legs a second ago. Talking about everyone individually, we have Victoria. So yeah, Victoria is just very striking. I just think her upper body is more developed than her lower body, kind of significantly. So I would like to see her quads, her hamstrings, her glutes all come up and match the muscularity in her upper body. But still, like, once she does that, I could absolutely see her like being in the top 5 of the Olympia, maybe one day winning. I don't know. We'd have to see what it looks like when she fills everything out. And then same feedback for the back pose. Okay. And then second place, we have Nedelku. So yeah, she looks great. I would just want to see more glute because her quad looks like it's taking over. She could probably angle her waist away slightly so we get more pop in the side glute. Her toe is pretty straight on, so that can make you look quad dominant if you aren't twisting your hips properly. And then more upper outer glute. I'm honestly a little bit surprised that she got second compared to Nora because she's missing so much upper outer glute. We have seen that though. Like, we saw that with it was a Hong Kong show, I think. The girl in the pink suit who got second, who has the tattoos of like the bows on her glute ham tie-ins. She was lacking in the upper outer glute, but she still got second place because the rest of her was very impressive. Hair, makeup, suit, I think is all very pretty. The suit might be able to have a little bit more coverage, but yeah, she's just looking lower body dominant. And even though Nora's arms are standing out to me, it was mainly in the back pose. So I probably would have had Nora in second place. So here's Nora. Yeah, Nora looks great. Not that the other girl doesn't, but yeah, Nora looks really great. I would bring the arm in tighter because it's drifting off and taking away from hourglass shape. She looks like she might not have as much pop in the front pose, just generally. So I would want more pop in the front pose. And then back pose, I think, is really good. Her arms look more relaxed here, so she doesn't look as distracting as I thought in the comparison photo. So yeah, I would say more shoulders and bring the arm in tighter, see what happens. Okay. So I think it was probably the conditioning that had Nedelku edging her out. Rania, I think this is my favorite I've ever seen Rania. I'm honestly kind of surprised she did not make it into the top 3. She looks very balanced. She looks more balanced to me than the winner Victoria, but she doesn't have the same wow factor as Victoria. Something that I always think with Rania is it looks like she has her shoulders up really close to her chin, so she could just stand nice and tall in her neck. I would like to see that. The blue suit, I think, is beautiful. She looks really full. I think she just needs more shoulders because her upper body's a little smaller compared to her lower body. Back pose looks really good. For her, it's just still more glutes, like I've said in previous videos. And then I think 5th place. Yeah, so I think Rania, it was more of like a wow factor thing and looking a little bit more comfortable on stage. The top 3 look very confident on stage. I would say Rania could look a little bit more confident on stage. Okay, and then in 5th place, we have Laura. So here is Laura. Okay, so yeah, Laura looks really good. She looks tighter than the last show. She did, so you can watch my other video of the show she competed in. She looks really full all around. Like, she looks really good. She doesn't have as much glow as I would like to see, as much as we saw in other people. And the tan could be darker, but we saw that Nora's tan could have been darker too. The shapes are all there. I just think it's a matter of needing more glute, because this looks a little bit soft, but I don't think she could get any tighter, because then it would really expose that her glutes need more development. And then she would just look kind of like stringy in the legs, you know, like seeing those grooves in the legs, like I talked about with Yulia. But I would relax the front pose more, deepen the tan, and more glaze, and long term, more glutes. Okay, so that is Fit Parade. And then who was I going to pull up? Oh yeah, Gulsa. This is when she beat Evie. Okay, I had this pulled up from way earlier. What I was going to say. So earlier her elbows were way out, so I pulled this up because she has had her elbows correct before, and then she won. So, okay, there's that. Hold, please. Okay, we have 2 more shows. So we have Monsterzym, Korea Natural Pro. So I was wrong. It wasn't Hong Kong. And then we have Mexico. So I'm going to do Korea because it's just 3 people. So in our first place, Alum won. I couldn't pull these up earlier because of lack of space on the bottom of my screen. So, Alum won. You guys know Alum's physique is just so pretty. I love it. The complexion always looks really like glowy, and that's what it means by complexion. Like the tan is dark enough and the skin looks like glowy. So, Alum looks very relaxed in her front pose. I would like her to relax her hand a little bit. There were no group comparison photos for this show, so I can't pull those up. But if I just pull them up next to each other, so Enjo got second. And then in third place, we had Gabrielle. So here, the 3 of them are next to each other. So I would say that Alum looks like she is there we go, the most muscular of all of them. Gabrielle's shape is really pretty, but she's just less muscled. So you see that she isn't quite as tight as either of the top 2. And it's because if she gets any tighter, she'll look like stringy. So the shape is really good. It's just not muscular enough. Enjo, she looks really good, but she doesn't have the same glute projection or really the same detail. Alum has detail top to bottom, like in this arm. It's not quite matching. She looks tighter in the upper body than she does the lower. And she always has some of this like rib stuff going on. But she does have projection and like this line going down the leg. So I think that helps to balance the physique, just like conditioning, matching, or at least having some type of consistency across the frame. I think the suit color could have popped more. I probably wouldn't do the suit. Like if she wore the color of Enjo's suit, that would be really good. Or even Gabrielle's suit. So that's what I think went on there. And then in the back pose, Gabrielle's glutes look really round. They look very pretty. Again, it's just a muscularity thing. Just needs some more size. Enjo, it's tough because the photo is off center. And then Alum, I think, has the strongest glute ham ties. I still think they could be tighter, but you see they're fuller than Enjo's. So I think that's why, which means they're obviously fuller than Gabrielle's because Gabrielle just needs overall more development. So congratulations, Alum. That show happened a while ago, but photos just posted. Okay, and then finally we have the Mexico show, and then we're going to preview some shows. Okay, so in first place, Cassandra finally won. I was so happy for her. So Cassandra has gotten second place multiple times over the past like year and a half. And so she missed her qualification by 1 spot, like a couple times, which is really, really fucking hard. That would be so painful. And then she finally wins a show, but it's after the Olympia cutoff, so she's not automatically qualified. That honestly, like, it's great. She has a lot of points now, but that would just seriously suck. So I really feel for Cassandra, but I'm so happy she won, and then I hope she wins another show so she qualifies for the Olympia. How would she do at the Olympia? I'm not sure. So I am kind of being that person where it's like, oh, everyone should be able to go to the Olympia, which is not true. I'm not saying Cassandra doesn't deserve to go to the Olympia, but you know, it would just be tough. Like, to get second a couple times, just missing the spot, and then finally winning, but like it doesn't really count. So yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay, and let's go into all 5 of our top 5. So starting with Cassandra, it looked like everyone at this show, their tan could have been a little bit darker. I saw Kerrigan's stories and stuff, and I didn't think it needed to be darker, so it could have just been the lighting. And then Courtney, her front pose just is not going to be fully posed. So let's look at Kerrigan and Cassandra next to each other. So Cassandra was in first place. She's in the pink suit. And Kerrigan is in the green suit. This is the best Kerrigan has ever looked. Kerrigan has had, I've been following her since she competed in North Americans when Daraja Hill went pro, and loved her look, and eventually Kerrigan went pro. And then when she got to the pro league, like, she dyed her hair darker, which I think didn't work for her on stage. I'll show you a picture. And she always looked way more muscular in the upper body than she did in the lower body. And then she like had a back injury, so that messed with her look. Like, it just really fucking sucked. So I was so happy to see her finally like coming at her best to a show. So Cassandra won. This is not the best I've seen Cassandra look, and it could be just the lighting in these photos. Usually Cassandra's waist is tighter. And she always does have this kind of, she doesn't have the same taper from the glute into the knee that we see in most other bikini competitors. Like, there's some muscles that just, like, is it weird to say bulge out differently? Like, the shape is just not quite as streamlined as some of the other competitors, but she has a lot of muscle density. Suit, hair, makeup, always beautiful. I think the suit is always a little bit too low in the front, but just looking at these two competitors, I think Cassandra has the win because she has better hourglass shape. Kerrigan, her hourglass shape is totally improved, but she's just flatter in this upper outer glute, and you see Cassandra has a lot of shape and roundness to the upper outer glute, which just fills out the physique better. It's not about having the best glutes in the show, but it's about having like that shape to begin with and that fullness to like give you the more exaggerated proportion. So Kerrigan looks great. This is the first show she's done that I haven't been like drawn to looking at the amount of development in her upper body, and she's not overposing her upper body like she has in the past. So yeah, but Cassandra just looks really full. The tan could be darker, but I think that's why she wins the front pose. And then the back pose, I think similar reasons. She just has a more density in upper outer glute than Kerrigan. Kerrigan just needs some more fullness here because when she walks, they kind of flatten. But this is like a really, 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 really good Kerrigan look. So I'm very happy for her. And I love the red hair. She looks gorge. I think Cassandra is at like her max fullness. She's incredibly full. Like, if she were tighter, I think she would look a little too lean. This is a really, really full look. So I think the hourglass is really good. Yeah, I think Kerrigan's back pose looks a little more bikini in like the muscularity, except for the glutes lagging behind a little bit. But this muscle belly of like the hamstring, they both have really nice full muscle bellies, but Cassandra is just more muscular. So, okay, yeah, I kind of went into things I would change there with their posing. So let me go into like a look that I did think was one of Cassandra's best looks. Okay, I loved this suit. Yeah, this is one of my favorite Cassandra looks. Like, the waist looks super tight. It looks a little bit, it looks like it's just kind of inflamed in the show that she just won. Like, her waist is usually about this tight. And then to go into one of Kerrigan's previous looks, let's look at like Southern Muscle. Because I don't think she was injured at this show, so it could be a good example. So the hair I thought was just a little bit too harsh, like the really dark hair. And where is her front pose? Okay, they didn't even capture her front pose here. So let's see if there's one towards the end. Yeah, okay, so she's just really open up in the upper body, really grainy. The ribs are like kind of popping out. So her front pose is like totally transformed now. So like that compared to this, it just looks like a different athlete. She looks much more relaxed and comfortable on stage, standing up nice and tall, not like jutting out the abs. So yeah, congratulations to Kerrigan. And then we have our third place winner, which is Abigail, and then fourth place is Galari, and then Courtney. Okay, so Abigail, let's look at front poses. Here is Galari. Okay, so here we go. So Abigail versus Galari. I think Galari's pose is better. She's just really, really hard. Like, you see cross striations in this quad here. Like, you see feathering of the quad here. You see like really dug in capped shoulders. The Sue, I think, could be a better color, like more of a jewel tone. I think would look good on her. The ribs are kind of popping out, so like keeping the ribs in and down would help. Abigail, I think she's really hard in this quad too, but she's just not as dug out as Galari. So if both of them could just soften up, I think that would help. And then Abigail, if she could relax the arm and have the foot out more like Galari's, like pretty much do what Galari is doing, except for similar hip angle to what she already has, is what I'm thinking. And then not like hunching over. It looks like Galari maybe was trying to keep her core tight, so she's like hunching over, which is causing the ribs to pop out. And I think she could be angled off more so we don't see as much of the front of her suit bottom, so we see more glute profile. And then based on their back poses, I think, again, Galari is showing some better shape and lines, but it's still too hard. Abigail, I think, could use more projection to her glutes because they kind of are blending in with her hamstrings. And then in 5th place, we have Courtney. There's not a fully posed back pose of Courtney, but her conditioning looks really nice. She just looks like she needs some more muscle, and I would angle her hips away a little bit so we get more hourglass shape. When you're really straight on in the waist, you have hourglass shape, but it's just not as exaggerated as it could be. So that is Mexico, which means we're done with all the shows. Okay, so should we just preview some stuff now? I think, yeah. Okay. I mean, should we? Okay. Is Bikini at this show? So here's what you do. You go to IFBBpro.com and I click on all the shows that are happening this weekend. You can also just go to the schedule, which is another tab on this site. But the biggest one happening so that's all of them. The biggest one happening this weekend is Prague. Okay, so Natural Bikini is going to be at that show. Moscow Bikini will be at that show. It says right here. Okay, not at Border States, not at Muscle Contest. UGP is Masters. Okay, Bikini is going to be at Prague, obviously. And then Natural Bikini. Okay, so let's pull up. So we have 4 shows happening this weekend. So let's pull up the bikini list. Okay, this is going to be exciting. And who's competing in men's bodybuilding? I'm curious about this too. Okay, anyone that pops out to me. Samson Dowda, Martin Fitzwater. I mean, other people pop out, but it's probably going to be between them. Okay, and then bikini. Okay, so we have Lauren Bell, who just placed a top 5. Okay, Lauren Bell, Jasmine Gonzalez is competing on the show. Antonietta. Okay, yeah. So I don't think I could do my preview right now, honestly. There's a lot of people. I mean, I knew it would be a lot of people. Oh, Allison Testu was doing the show. Okay, there's going to be another preview to come, but those are the people that stand out to me right away. So I'll tell you who stands out. Lauren, maybe for a top 5, depending on who else is there. Antonietta, let me pull her up. Because I think she's been to the Olympia, if not close. Oh, okay. This isn't the same person. Okay, so, Victoria, the one who just won Fit Parade. Yeah, it'll probably be Victoria, Jasmine. Those are definitely in my top, probably 3. And then Lisa Reith, she had to drop out of the Olympia, like, that day or week or something. She had a fever. So Allison Testu, I could see her being in top 3, but I could see her being like more like 5. Patrizia, she's coming with a really full look. Okay, so those are the people who stand out to me right now. And then Natural Bikini, Shannon definitely stands out to me. And then Bikini here, Jessica, Alessia Fashine. I could see Alessia winning this show. I have to look all these people up. I don't recognize all them, but like this is no big name stand out to me. And Alessia is consistently in the top 3 to 5. So I could see her winning depending on who else is there. And then, yeah. Alessia, Gabrielle, Iris, and Emmanuel definitely stand out to me. So, okay, let's wrap this up. And I will make a I unplugged my ring light. I'll make a preview video. And I hope you have a good day. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.